Welcome to another episode of Matty Loves Podcast.
Welcome everyone to another episode of Matty Loves Podcast. I'm your host Matt D. Simone. Joined with me as always, Dr. Tom Lucas. Welcome back.
Thanks for having me over
problem.
to the studio.
What do you think of the new theme song?
The new theme song is everything I ever wanted in a theme song, but was afraid to ask.
Well, excellent, good. That's the answer I wanted from you.
Right. Is that going to be on the new unit they're going to be offering in the fall? Do we know?
What, Double Dragon 2?
Don't you know about the Nintendo Retro unit that's coming out? Well,
What?
oh my God,
What?
I know
You're
something
scooping me.
that you don't.
You're scooping me.
Wow. So, a little bit later this year, Nintendo's coming out with a unit that looks like the original Nintendo, and it has, I think, like about 30, maybe, Nintendo games, classic Nintendo games pre-programmed on it, $60.
And Nintendo is releasing this. This isn't.
Yes.
This is from
Yeah,
Nintendo.
no, yeah,
this
this
isn't one
is-
of those like things to where like it's got old Nintendo games on it, but it's not like an official Nintendo.
No, it is
release.
straight up official, and it looks just like the original Nintendo
Is
unit.
it a top loader?
Well, I think it's all in the firmware. I don't think that there's any cartridges or anything like that.
Okay.
I think that it's
it's all
on
there.
the board.
I
Yeah.
wonder if Double Dragon 2 is going to be on there.
That's what I need to know.
If
look
for
up.
30 games, man, and Nintendo's releasing it, I'd have to think that out of those 30 games, like they're all going to be Nintendo related, because
They've got to be
Double
all
Dragon
of
2,
yeah.
Double Dragon 2 isn't like a Nintendo like game, that was made by I think like Trade West back in the day. So anyway, well, gosh, I'm gonna be interested to see that.
Dude, retro gaming is kind of where it's at for a lot of people. And I recently hooked up my old PS2 and I bought 2 games online. I bought Judge Dredd versus Judge Death
On your PS2
for my PS2. And I haven't played it
that
yet.
thing still hooks into the internet.
I never messed with that. I bought it off of Amazon.
Okay. I was about to say,
Yeah.
what? PlayStation 2 internet.
Yeah, Amazon, and also because I'm a Fallout freak, I never played the Fallout PS2 game, which a lot of people don't. It isn't canon. But
Right.
I know canon be damned.
Right. Well, speaking of video games, that's funny you brought it up. The Marvel Ultimate Alliance and Ultimate Alliance 2 bundle just recently dropped on PlayStation Network, and I went ahead and downloaded both games.
What's the sticker price on that?
$60 for both games or $40 for each. So,
Okay.
duh.
Yeah.
You're going to buy them both because they go together hand in hand, basically. It's Ultimate Alliance 2 is a direct sequel to the first game. So, I crushed about 9 hours yesterday.
Oh wow.
Well, I'm working on a comic as we've talked about kind of a little bit on the show, and I got a draft in. I was feeling accomplished, and when I feel accomplished, that's usually when I play video games.
Right on.
If I have everything
I think
going.
that's a very healthy way to celebrate an
Yeah.
accomplishment.
Yeah, so I have so I was all done with that. It came out, I downloaded it, and kicked out a solid 9 hours, on and off, but pretty much all on. And so that's been fun. I love those games, that style of gameplay. I'm never really claimed to be a video game guy, but
Well, it's basically Gauntlet with Marvel characters. Right?
Exactly. And what's better than just, going around and just punching people
Nothing.
in a video game, right?
Well,
So-
actually, I would argue that the number one thing you can do in a video game is snipe Nazis and then beat up people.
Right, yeah, of course.
Nothing. They don't really do World War II shooters anymore, but that was bread and butter for years.
Yeah.
And there's nothing like gunning down Nazis.
Yeah, no, that's what they should implement in, a new, Marvel Ultimate Alliance game is just, have them go back in time and
Red
have to
Skull?
fight- have to fight Nazis or something like that.
Nazis.
Nazis, Yeah. So, well, anyway, on this episode this week, our main focus is going to be on the Netflix series Stranger Things, which was released a few weeks back, and it is been met with rave reviews, lots of critical success. And we're just gonna spend a little bit of time here talking about it.
Yeah. First of all, if you haven't seen it, you should see it.
Yeah, and secondly, if you haven't seen it, you're probably gonna want to go ahead and just stop this podcast right now because we're about to spoil the shit out of the show.
Yeah, Stranger Things, spoiler alert.
Right, but I mean, if you like to go into your TV shows, kind of knowing a little bit about what's going on, then we'll try to do our best to not give away everything.
We'll try.
Yeah.
We'll try. So, spoilers in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
I never thought that Indiana Jones was going to end up saving the kid's life at the end. Though.
Well, and then that part where he took the crystal skull and stuck it inside the Holy Grail, and there was the atomic explosion.
Right.
But they were hiding in a washing machine.
Which
so it was
cracked the
okay.
Pacific Rim,
Yeah.
and that's why we got all of the kaiju.
Kaiju,
so.
yeah, it's crazy. Indiana Jones versus Kaiju is really a very refreshing storyline.
And I think it was actually supposed to be that's what the Crystal Skull was originally. I think George Lucas wanted it to be seriously. George Lucas wanted it to be Indiana Jones and the spiders from Mars.
Well, right. Well, what I kind of do want to see is I want to see Indiana Jones uncover a secret Nazi super weapon, which is like a big steam-powered Nazi mech that he hops inside, and then he has to fight a kaiju. Yeah.
Wow.
That's wearing a big American GI helmet with the little netting on it as well, so we get all South Pacific with it.
and then Indiana Jones is like, oh yeah, well I got an answer for that. And he pulls out a helmet that's got a big spike on the top of it.
Kaiser.
Yeah.
Little Kaiser helmet.
Yeah, folks, Indiana Jones is not on Stranger Things. We're just totally playing off of you're about to.
There's not even a hint at Indiana Jones anywhere.
No, but
in the show. There are other things that it's referencing.
It makes you feel like Indiana Jones might be in the theater at the time.
Yes.
This is going on.
Yeah, like they may have gone to see it.
Right, like they might have seen Raiders, a couple days before this
There's
started.
some good Empire Strikes Back references.
Oh, well, there's great. Oh my God, Empire Strikes Back references, X-Men references. I mean, the show's so good. Okay, so anyway, in all seriousness, Stranger Things was created by a pair of brothers, Matt and Ross Duffer, the Duffer brothers.
The Duffer Brothers.
They're from Durham, North Carolina, which I love because that's only about 2.5 hours from my hometown.
Dig it.
And this is pretty much all they've done so far.
Well, aren't they the showrunners for Wayward Pines?
I think one of the brothers wrote a few of the episodes. For
Oh,
Wayward
okay.
Pines. Yeah,
Because
I know.
we haven't talked about that at all, mainly because it's broadcast television, and we don't really talk broadcast television on the show. But I've been watching Wayward Pines, and it's fun. It's a fun show. Do you know the premise at all?
What channel does it come on?
Oh, it's on Fox.
Okay. And what is it? Just kind of like a monster show?
Well, it's based on what I understand are some YA sci-fi books.
Okay.
And the idea is that this guy predicted that the environment was going to go to hell. So he basically kidnaps about 1,000 people and puts them in cryo. And they wake up 2,000 years later, and they all live in this total suburban community. And they're all woken up and they have to adjust, and it's all about the things. And then there's these mutant type people the Morlocks of this world.
Okay, right.
The
survivors.
Yes, and they're monstrous. And they live behind a big electric fence. And then there's all kinds of intrigue. It's an uneven show because it's a broadcast show,
right,
and there are places where it should be taking risks and it's not. But it's a fun watch. And so, when I saw that connection, I thought, okay, so these are genre guys.
Yes.
These are genre-loving guys.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm always into kind of finding, the first being there for when something hits for creators, and it's kind of like their springboard. I definitely think that these brothers are about to. We're about to see these guys for a while.
I think that you do some. I know that all they've really done are short films, like their IMDb is all short stuff, which I can't say I've seen.
Sure,
but you get this much energy off your first like real outing, and I think it's carte blanche as long as they don't screw the pooch somehow. I think things are looking pretty rosy if you're a duffer right now.
Yeah, right, exactly. I mean, this television show is it's like eating like one of your favorite things like one of your favorite foods growing up, and not having it for years, and then remembering, oh my gosh, yes, man, I remember I used to eat this all the time. I used to love this shit.
Yeah, right.
That is how I felt when I watched this show, man. So more or less, just a real quick run of the story here. Basically, what happens at the very beginning in the pilot is a young boy goes missing.
Right, after a D&D game.
After a D&D game, that's right. He goes missing in the woods, and then that from the jump. I mean, a bunch of 12-year-old kids playing Dungeons and Dragons. Like,
right. I was totally one of those kids. Like, I could have been sitting at that table.
Like, right away they have got so many people just with that, because you never see that on TV.
Yeah.
Like, you never see any kids where their quirk is like a tabletop gaming. You never see like little things like that.
Right.
And how that game in the pilot episode, is kind of foreshadowing the entire series.
Right.
And you're watching it, and I was watching it, and I should have known watching it. This is the foreshadowing of the series.
Right, yeah.
But
they tell you what's happening.
Right, but I couldn't get over the fact that, we're just watching kids sitting there playing D&D and showing other kids that might be watching this for the first time how much fun it is.
Well, and what really spoke to me is if you look at the year the story's set, 1983,
yes.
I was the same age as those guys.
Right.
In 1983, and I was playing Dungeons and Dragons.
Yeah.
So, it really, dude, it was like it reached directly into my childhood.
Yeah, and so a boy goes missing, and it's kind of sort of like a trade-off, because once the boy goes missing, another kid shows up, who initially I thought that Tommy, the boy that went, or Will, the boy, I always want to call him Tommy because he reminds me of Tommy Doyle from Halloween.
Oh, yeah.
Will, the kid that goes missing, is like kind of replaced by who I thought was like Tom, or who I thought was like Will. He had like switched minds with like 11.
Yeah, yeah.
So I thought like maybe Will came back as like a girl, after going wherever he went.
That could have been a viable storyline.
Sure. It's not the case. It was but anyway, they meet this strange girl who escapes from this facility, who's got
She's Jean Grey.
She's Jean Grey, man. Yeah.
She's Jean Grey at 11.
Yeah, pretty much an 11-year-old Jean Grey, who like doesn't remember anything.
Has been traumatized by experimentation
yes.
and living in a lab.
Yes, and pretty. I would say that out of overall performance on the show from the cast, she probably 11 is probably the best.
Right.
Is
well,
the best.
I think it helps to look at. Okay, because, Stranger Things is a big nostalgia blast, and it references a lot of things. It's set in 1983, and, we really get that vibe, and, of course, all the movies.
80s movie vibe.
But also, too, it feels like something that was made in the 80s that everybody forgot about.
Right. Yeah.
Aside from the quality special effects.
For sure, right.
Right.
Yeah, exactly.
But everything else, the acting is pretty on par for something that was shot in 1983.
Yeah.
That was a horror genre piece. So, the acting is not exceptional for the most part. I'd say it's pretty average acting. And one of the other things I liked is that there's really nobody pretty on this show at all. Everyone is pretty incredibly normal looking actors, you know. Even the girl who's supposed to be a little sweetheart of the show, she's like, not really.
She's like 80 pounds.
Yeah, you know. And
that was my whole thing when I first saw her. I was like, good day. But that's the thing. It's like all the main characters have some sort of imperfection.
Oh, yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Whether it's like kind of like physically or like, you know, performance-wise, you know?
Right.
I think that Winona Ryder's character of Joyce, you know, she goes through it, you know? And I think she goes through it to the point to where we see her at her just craziest.
Yes.
And then once Hopper comes by, the sheriff, and says, you were right all along, that's when kind of like she starts to kind of, the color starts to come back in her face, you know, and, you know, she's kind of got that hope again, you know, and she's not like just sitting there crushing cigarettes.
Right.
So I thought Winona Ryder's performance was good. David Harbour, who plays Sheriff Hopper.
Sheriff Brody?
Yeah, right. I thought he was just fantastic.
Oh, my God.
Man.
He's so well cast.
Once you find out that he had a daughter, too, that got away from him, that's when, you know, I mean, that's when I was like, okay, now, you know, we can empathize with the cop. He's not going to be an asshole.
Right.
You know, he's probably going to try and help them.
And we also know why he's not a real by-the-book, be at the office at 7 in the morning.
Right, exactly, yeah.
You know, uniform starch.
He's not perfect
dressed.
Either.
No.
You know, he apparently, from what I gather in the story, he left the big city to come to a small town just so he didn't have to deal with everything that he had seen.
Yeah.
And in this town of Hawkins, Indiana, at the onset of the story, nothing's really going on there. Like as far as like weird, as far as like crime goes, anything like that. And then all of a sudden, in the span of like a week, just like crazy shit happens, and you know it's all not a coincidence.
Small town, and there's a little strange laboratory,
right?
You know, that nobody really knows what they do.
Of course,
It's like up on the hill or whatever you want to call it.
Yeah,
and that's run by Winona Ryder and Matthew Modine.
Yes,
who runs the lab.
Excellent actor.
This is a straight callback to the 80s, and it's designed to totally get you, you know, because Matthew Modine's heyday was probably, you know, his biggest movies are 80s movies.
Oh, for sure.
Vision Quest, right?
Quest.
Yeah, Vision Quest, and and you know,
it's the bike movie, right? Or is Vision Quest a wrestling movie?
It's the wrestling movie. It's the
right.
wrestling.
I'm thinking of Quicksilver and Kevin
Oh,
Bacon.
yeah. Greco-Roman
Yes.
wrestling, though, let's be clear.
Yes.
Unitards a-flying.
That's right.
You know, so if you want to see Matthew Modine in a unitard, and, you know, that's
Vision
something
Quest.
that you want, Vision Quest is where you go,
Yeah.
where he's trying to make weight and getting bloody noses and all kinds of shit. But anyway, yeah, bringing them in evokes that strong feeling, the Carpenter music.
Well, the music, okay, and that's a whole other thing that I wanted to get to, is the music. But first, speaking of rhythm, the story in itself, we're dealing with alternate dimensions.
Yeah.
So in an 8-episode series, you have to think, okay, well, one of the big things here is there is an alternate dimension. When do we tell them that there's an alternate dimension? Do we go the whole time and then just dump it all on them in the last episode and have us all like, wait, what?
Yeah.
Or do you wait until about halfway, hit us off with a, yes, there's an alternate dimension, and then we're like, you got to get there in 4 episodes, you know? And so in doing that, you know, you kind of have to kind of slow play it a little bit, but not only that, but it's also one of those shows to where, like, out of all the main adult characters, we get to go back and see kind of how they got to this point. Mm-hmm. And not really any drawn out scenarios, just simple scenes. They show Winona Ryder's character of Joyce with her son Will, who goes missing. You know, and for the first couple episodes, we see them kind of flash back to her and Will's back and forth and how they were together and how close they were. You know, but the whole entire time, like Sheriff Hopper, you know, you kind of ask yourself, well, where was he before all this?
Right.
And then finally in the finale, we get the sheriff's story.
Yeah.
Which at the very end of the series, in the finale, it makes sense what the sheriff does, and why he's still kind of, searching, I guess.
Yeah,
because
yeah.
he lost a daughter as well.
Right. Well, the other thing, too, and I haven't seen this in any of the articles that I've come upon with Stranger Things, is that there's also an old Twilight Zone here that's being referenced. Maybe unintentionally, I don't know, and I can't remember the title of it, but basically, a little girl falls into an alternate dimension in her bedroom, and her parents can hear her and communicate with her, and it's clearly a frightening place, and they have to get her back over. And in Stranger Things, Winona Ryder hangs up all these Christmas lights because when you are in proximity in the parallel universe, you light up the lights in this universe, so it's a way of knowing where people are. In the old Twilight Zone, they put chalk marks on the girls' bedroom walls to mark where the door would be and how to get her back and all that. So there's a scene where Winona is directly communicating with her son, who's in the other place. And I was like, oh, this is so much like that old Twilight Zone.
Yeah, and I mean, that makes sense, too, because the monster's in the wall.
Yeah.
Which is kind of like a door. Which is one of the little things on the show that, I've asked, like, all right, how is the wall... there's no, like, alien goo around it or anything. How is it like being able to move through these walls?
Yeah.
And then also move through these gates. That was one thing that wasn't really explained. Didn't really need to be explained to me, to be honest.
I think it was dream logic.
Yeah.
I think it was a Freddy Krueger thing to a point.
Yeah.
But I think the idea is that, because although it does not follow its internal logic, because, we're told that you have to go through a gate.
Right.
And there's two gates.
Yes.
There's a gate in the lab and there's a gate in the forest.
Right. And then I want to say that there's also a gate in their shed.
Oh, yeah.
And that's why I got that's how it's getting through the walls of the house, because the gate's already out in the shed.
Right, yeah.
By the way, folks, there's a monster that's taking people into an alternate dimension.
And it's basically Jaws. It's Jaws from an alternate dimension. It's a land
Jaws,
shark.
It's Jaws. It's a Dreamcatcher alien.
Yeah.
It's a mix of Jaws, the Dreamcatcher alien, because he totally has that shark appeal to him.
Right. Well, blood in the water, dude. He's attracted to blood.
Yeah. He's got the... I mean, basically what they want...
He's all teeth.
I mean, yeah, and that's the thing. It's like, okay, what is terrifying? Like, what terrifies people as far as, like,
no face,
things?
all teeth.
No face, all teeth. Sharks are scary as shit.
Yeah. I don't remember Dreamcatcher.
Hairless, wet,
Yeah,
that's creepy.
Reptilian.
Yeah, exactly. So, the monster was solid, dude. And I'm so glad they waited until about episode, 5 to really show us what it looked like.
But it's also kind of human.
Oh,
it's
for sure.
it's tall
it's
and lanky.
Sandman. It's like the nightmarish Sandman,
Yeah, right.
Like takes you in your dreams at night. And
totally.
whisk you away to another world that you don't want to go to at all.
Right.
Okay, so getting back to the music.
Yeah.
Okay. It's done by Kyle Dixon and Michael Stein, who are two unknowns.
Yeah.
They look like Full Sail students.
Yeah.
I don't know if they went to Full Sail or not, but anyway, they both they did the music for the show. They haven't really done anything else. And I mean, these two guys either were told by the Duffer Brothers, listened to a lot of John Carpenter soundtracks, or these guys love John Carpenter, and they were like, oh.
It ends up becoming the greatest John Carpenter theme music never was.
Right, yeah. And I really want to know his thoughts on it.
Is it flattering or irritating? Knowing John Carpenter, you probably pissed him off.
Oh, yeah, sure. Oh, yeah.
But why didn't you just have me do it?
Right, I would have done it. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. I will say, though, not to get sidetracked, but after I watched this, I went back and after watching this show, for some reason it made me want to watch Escape. Both Escapes from New York and L.A. And I don't know if it was because of the music
Snake.
or not. Yeah, call me Pliskin.
Call me Pliskin.
Yeah, now, admittedly, Escape from L.A. is, Whoa, like I get every time, 30 minutes into the movie, and I'm like, I can't. It's tough to get through.
Well,
I get what they're trying to do with it.
Carpenter's just retelling the story in
And
a
he
different
got paid
city.
to do it too.
Right, yeah.
They all got paid. Kurt
Oh,
Russell
yeah.
was like, "I'll do the movie if you put an EP credit on me."
Right.
As soon as you see a producer, Kurt Russell, okay, he's making some loot off of this.
Yeah, sure.
This is a paycheck.
I think I still, I don't, apologize for it. I love watching the movie, but it has a more in-your-face sense of humor about it.
Yeah, but I just don't like the director with the ponytail and he's terrible,
Okay.
I don't know, man. It's like, I just rather, Snake had already been, in LA, and they come in there and they're like, hey, look, we know you're here for bad things, but we need you to help us, really.
Yeah, right, yeah. And then
because the concept's the same thing. I mean, they set it up. It's just like Escape from New York.
It's beat for beat.
Yeah.
Like basically the same movie.
Yeah.
It's just
There's waves, catching waves.
Yeah. Oh, the Peter Fonda bit is so.
Oh man, Peter Fonda is great.
Yeah.
Hey man, far out, good man.
Yeah. So ridiculous, but God, Snake is one of my favorite characters of all time,
he's
and
a
that's
cowboy,
all
man.
because of Kurt Russell.
Yeah, dude. I mean, Snake Plissken could be in Escape from New York. He also could be in Once Upon a Time in the West.
Shame on Luc Besson and Guy Pearce for doing Lockout, because if they hadn't done it, we would have gotten Escape from Earth.
Really?
Yeah. That was going to be the next thing. Is they were going to do, you got Escape from New York, Escape from LA, Escape from Planet Earth.
Right.
And he was going to go out into space.
Oh my gosh. And that opens everything up.
Luc Besson did that, and Carpenter sued him and won. Because it's Escape from New York on a space station.
I've never seen Lockout.
Oh my God, dude.
I've seen Lock Up.
Okay.
With Stallone.
Yeah, no. It's with Guy Pearce is our Snake Plissken.
Okay.
And yeah, I'm sure you can stream that.
Sure.
Anyway, getting back to this.
But yeah, so the music's there. He gave us all those Carpenter feels. You gotta love that. We love John Carpenter on this show so much. But the thing that really just made me want to watch this show from the first thing that I saw was the main selling point was the poster.
Oh yeah.
It looks something straight out of the 80s, straight Drew Struzan special.
It's huge. I'm surprised he didn't actually do it.
And that was the thing. Yeah, I was like, oh, so Drew Struzan did it. No, it was by a guy named Kyle Lambert. He lives in Las Vegas. Was commissioned by the Duffer Brothers to do this. Mm-hmm. And, he basically was told, hey, we want you to do a real 80s style poster. And in a brief little blurb he wrote, he said that, he just went back and looked at a bunch of the old Struzan, the old indie posters and all that stuff, the Indiana Jones stuff and Masters of the Universe and all the great posters that Drew Struzan did back in the day. And I mean, it's incredible. And then on the site, it kind of takes you through the steps and everything like that.
Oh, dig it.
Which is pretty neat. So yeah,
I don't even know how you do.
I don't either, dude. My
brain doesn't work that way.
Yeah, I mean,
I wish I was an illustrator and a painter. I wish I had those aptitudes and talents
to be able to just draw
see something and create it.
Exactly.
I have to use words.
Yeah, that's not bad.
No, it's at least there's an outlet.
Yeah, exactly. So if you haven't seen the poster, usually if you go into Netflix and you go right to Stranger Things, that's what you see is that 80s poster image, and that's what I first saw, and I was like, okay, I'm gonna check this out, because it looked interesting just from the poster alone and all the Christmas lights, in and the stars and everything. There's so much stuff there. My mother watch this.
Oh, I told my mom last night or the night before to start watching it.
Yeah, my mom
watches cool stuff.
Yeah, mom was looking for stuff to watch. She had just watched Gilmore Girls, I think, for her like 7th time.
Okay.
And she was like, I want to watch something else. And so I suggested Stranger Things, and she absolutely loved it so much to where she's watching Daredevil right now.
Wow. I don't know if I could get my mom into the Marvel stuff, but she loves Game of Thrones, dude.
Well, see, I think Daredevil's different, man. It's
I know.
not like a Marvel.
No, yeah.
Like anybody can watch Daredevil.
Yeah. No, I agree. All the Netflix stuff is more grounded.
Sure.
And
that's on purpose.
Yeah.
So.
And I think one of the reasons why Daredevil works so well is we don't get to see the deaf vision.
Right.
Which is often portrayed in the comic, because comics are visual form and you have to.
For sure.
But they don't do that in the show, and it makes it less gimmicky. And my God, man, the fight coordination, the fight choreography on that show is just, it's sick.
Yeah, so Mom said, it reminds me of E.T. and the Karate Kid. And I was like, the Karate Kid? Why? She was like, because it just seems like, like kind of like we were saying, they just watched Indiana Jones. It was like these kids had just watched Karate Kid.
Okay.
She said that they're all dressed kind of, in that early 80s. They nailed that, and then I think the whole E.T. thing for a lot of people on the show is the bikes and the headlights, man.
And the white hazmat suits.
Yeah, and the hazmat suits. Matthew Modine, when he walks in with a hazmat suit for the first time, I pictured in my head when the guy walks into Elliot's house with the hazmat suit.
And the blonde wig on the girl.
Yeah.
It's straight up when they put the wig on E.T., bro.
Oh, man, yeah. Oh, gosh, all of that is so good. It's so good. Eleven's relationship with Mike, who's like the lead kid of the, Monster Squad, so to speak. It's just so good.
I'm going to give it a little bit of time, and I'm going to rewatch it. Another thing that I like is that it's an 8-episode investment.
Yeah.
And the story has no filler. It's really lean, and it's well-paced.
It's straight. It's right. It follows a direct line the whole way. You are on the line from beginning, and you don't deviate at all.
Right.
8 episodes. Had it been 15, who knows?
There would have been some padding episodes for sure.
I'm just glad that a channel like Fox didn't get a hold of this show.
Yes.
This seems like a show that could be on Fox for 22 episodes. And at the end of the season, we're like, man, it was good, but about 10 episodes were really good.
Most broadcast TV is
Absolutely.
like that,
Yep. There are very few that, like Flash, that can...
so season 3 is going to be Flashpoint.
Yeah.
So I think that's what I'm going to hop on.
Okay, well, it's funny we just mentioned this, because I'm about to get to that. Okay, so I also read about the future of this series.
Yeah.
Everybody loves it. We want a season 2. Everybody wants a season 2. So I did a little digging, and I read an article from Empire Magazine with the Duffer Brothers, and they say that season 2 will, if they, do it, if it's going to happen, will be a direct sequel to season 1.
Really?
Yeah. So they're not gonna.
I thought they would have gone anthology style and done a whole different,
like American Horror Story.
Yeah.
Well, I'm glad they're not doing that, because I had that feeling too. That Stranger Things was just the name of the show. It was gonna each season deal with a different set of people.
Well, with a title like that, you have a lot of flexibility.
Yeah.
You do, but they're not. It's going to be a direct sequel.
So, and they say that Will is now basically the boy who lived. He's Harry Potter.
Okay.
He went up against the monster, and he somehow escaped.
So Will is going to be a focal point.
Well, obviously, because Will is still not all that healthy.
No, there's a little something at the end there that makes you go, oh, Will has some distance to go. Yeah. Will has issues, and it ain't girls.
And the main thing they said at the end was, look, the fact that there's the upside down, they call the upside down the alternate dimension, which I love.
It's a decrepit version of our world.
The tightrope analogy.
The science
use.
teacher, he's the bomb, dude.
Dude, he's awesome, man. He is awesome. He's awesome. Do you think you can have any kids in mind? He's like, yeah, I got a few students in mind. When, when they were coming to bullshit him about the project or whatever. He's awesome. When they asked him about Dungeons and Dragons, and he was like, oh yeah, he's running off the Dungeons and Dragons stuff.
And then when they ask him, how do you create a portal to another universe, he's like, well,
exactly.
Theoretically.
Yeah, right. It's not like, you kids are crazy, you can't do that.
Yeah.
But anyway, the Duffer Brothers said that because they're dealing in alternate dimensions, that means you can do anything.
Yeah.
And and I thought about that in the Flash. I was like, you know what? With the Flash, it's kind of like the same thing. They can do anything. They don't have to just stick to the typical comic book stuff. Like, they have an opportunity to take the Flash on TV and take that character places that it's never been in the comics.
Yeah.
So that's really exciting. But back to Stranger Things. I mean, the places they can go, who knows?
Right.
But I'm definitely looking forward to seeing what they have in store.
It's super exciting, because it's new. Because another reference to is the Goonies. There's a little bit of Goonies.
And Stand By Me as well. The train tracks, when they're walking down the train tracks, all four of them. I mean, come on, man.
And the Stephen King font.
The Stephen King. Every episode almost they say something. You ever read Stephen King?
Yeah. Well, Stephen King too is a common Stephen King trope is the portal to the other dimension.
Right. I wonder
where
if he's
stuff
watched
comes
this
through.
show.
Right.
He's had to have watched.
Oh
this
yeah.
show.
And I'm sure he enjoyed it.
He had, because it's straight out of this is Stephen King city.
Yeah, and but when I watch the Goonies or something like that, there is a level of nostalgia that makes it enjoyable. Maybe this show is going to offer that for some younger viewers down the line, like to be 12, and to see this, right?
You kidding me? Forget about it.
Yeah, it's very cool, and so if this is an entry level adventure for anyone, congratulations.
Yeah, no doubt. Well,
you got your Goonies, you got your E.T.
Yeah, not only that, story wise, it's entry level, but like we were saying in the beginning of the podcast, like this is entry level for the Duffer Brothers to really be successful in Hollywood. And if they put out anything,
if they're doing stuff like this,
man. I mean, this right here is a niche. Like, this is niche genre stuff. Like, they can make a lot of money off of people like us if they just keep doing stuff like this. I'd love to see the Duffer Brothers get a hold of the X-Men. Now, watching this, I mean, oh my gosh, like, there's so much accurate
they want to do it.
Yeah, dude. So many accurate references to X-Men in this book, in this series. They reference X-Men 134. In this, and if I'm not mistaken, issue 134 is the death of Jean Grey.
I'm pretty sure, yeah.
I think so.
Yeah.
I think it is. I know that 143, 144, or 145, 146 is Days of Future Past. So, anyway, yeah. So I mean, just hearing the X-Men shit, I'm just,
right?
Because that's the best era of the X-Men in the early 80s, in my opinion.
Oh, yeah. Well, I was talking X-Men with everybody at that age.
Yeah.
And I was drawing them.
Yes.
Trying.
Yeah, right.
Just trying to draw them. It was tough.
So, overall, I think both of us are agreeing that we're going to go through Stranger Things here again down the road here. I mean, I would like for them to announce something so that can kind of give myself a timetable on when I need to go through it again, because I'd like to watch the 8 episodes about a week before the next 8.
Right, yeah, sure. Yeah, so. you with the amount of stuff that we watch, you absolutely need refreshers before new seasons, because there's so many working parts in these stories.
Yeah, there is, definitely. Yeah. And, there's still a few loose ends that need to be tied up. It wasn't a seamless finish. It was tight. But there's definitely some things that kind of, just left us questioning where these characters are going to be going.
Yeah.
Just tremendous show. love Stranger Things. Definitely suggest everyone going out there. I hope we didn't give too much away, but just enough for you to at least give the pilot a whirl, because I think once you are 30 minutes into the pilot episode, you're going to be in, if you listen to this podcast at least.
Dig it.
So that's gonna do it for this episode of Matty Loves Podcast. Tom, you got anything you want to add here to close?
Yeah, I do. So I have a story in a book that just came out. It's in a series, Effed Up Fairy Tales. Of course, it's correctly spelled.
Yes.
But for our family listeners, I'm not going to say it completely. Volume 7. I took the classic Pinocchio, not Disney Pinocchio, the original Pinocchio, and went bizarro with it. And early reviews of the story and the volume have been pretty cool.
Hell yeah.
Pretty cool. And they're putting out a small book a month for a year, and then I believe they're going to do a monster anthology at the end of the year. So that's out
Congrats,
there.
bud.
Thank you.
Pick that up, folks.
Yeah, and you can find it right on Amazon. Effed Up Fairy Tales Volume 7. It has a picture of a decrepit, creepy-looking little king on the cover, but spell it out, adults. Spell it out properly to find the title. So,
well, excellent. So, folks, if you want to read more of Dr. Tom, you now know of another place that you can go read some of his stories. For Dr. Tom, I'm Matt Simone, and we will see you again on the next episode of Matty Loves Podcast.